Right.
All
Ambassador,
of those things
I'm sorry, I'm cutting you here, but you do mention Major General Nadeem Ijaz Ahmed, who was the director of the military intelligence. Now, you, in part of your report, suggested that CPO Saud Aziz was in fact taking orders from him.
We know that there was communication between them. What was the strict contents of that communication? We cannot say for certain. But it is evident that a police officer such as Mr. Saud Aziz evidently was thinking of who and how his superiors might be thinking about such sensitive issues such as the ones that he was handling. So our conclusion is he couldn't have done it alone.
You also speak about parallel investigations being conducted by intelligence agencies. That is something that was of great concern to your commission, and you said that impeded your investigation into the report. Can you please elaborate on that?
Well, as we know and as we were told repeatedly, the intelligence agencies don't have as a mandate to conduct criminal investigation, but they do. And that was recognized to us by high authorities of ISI, by high-ranking authorities of the Musharraf government. So this is no secret that they conduct an investigation. What happened was that they delivered piecemeal information to the police, and that led to an obstruction in the sense that the police either on a deliberate way in most cases or in other cases, simply because they didn't know how deep were the intelligence services involved in investigating, they did not do what they should have done it with what they knew it was their professional duty. So the parallel investigation had a double effect. One, that is to accede to certain information, which the police was handed over, and in some cases we found out that the police did not know what the intelligence services had done. And in other cases, it led the police to do less of a job, thinking that, well, after all, there are more powerful forces involved here. Why should I risk myself?
Right.
There's a combination of the two. In that sense, there was an obstruction.
Right. So, Ambassador, you talk about powerful forces being involved here. Now, the reason everybody is asking what exactly your interaction with retired General Musharraf is simply because it seems that his government, and you very clearly mentioned that his government was responsible for at least the security lapse that took place. Now, at the behest of General Musharraf, Brigadier Chima held a very hasty kind of press briefing that you mentioned without any post-mortem. Did you ask him why? What led him to hold this press conference?
Well, let me reiterate that the Musharraf government failed to protect Benazir Bhutto as they should have. They passed on the information, the intelligence information about the threats, but they did not take commensurate measures to protect her. And that is very clear at the federal level, at the provincial level, and in the case of Rawalpindi. That is without a doubt. Now, as regards the Chima press conference, again, I cannot go into the questions that we posed to one of the witnesses, in this case, General Musharraf, because we promised him to keep this under confidentiality. But evidently, something like that was part of our conversation. That is all I can say. And what I can underline is that press conference, what it did, was it preempted and it prejudiced the criminal investigation, because, as we said in the report, when the first joint, the first JIT was established, they met with Saud Aziz, and as they were having tea, they were able to see on television this press conference, and I think it was Aziz who said, well, so what are you going to investigate? Everything is solved. They already found the culprit, and they already know the cause of death. So the consequences of this hasty press conference 24 hours after the assassination was to preempt and to damage any investigation that could have led to perhaps a lot more clarity and less conspiracy theories than it turned out to be.
Ambassador, if you would allow me to ask you, you have named some people very clearly in your report, including CPO Saud Aziz, even the MI director. Why is it that the conversation with General Musharraf is confidential?
Well, because in many cases, the witnesses asked us to keep confidentiality, and to do, in some other cases, simply conversations on background. That is not the case of officials who were serving in Pakistan when we went over, and that was their duty to speak to us as the government made them available to us. But in other cases, the persons that spoke to us did it on a voluntary basis, and they set up the conditions. Let me say that in many cases, we are not even naming the persons because those were the conditions that they requested, and we spoke to very valuable people. We could use that information. We used that information in the report, but we could not name those individuals.
Right. Let me ask you a general question then, because we all know that the United States and the United Kingdom were crucial in having some kind of a reconciliation between General Musharraf and Benazir Bhutto. Now, in your report, and also it's widely known that Benazir Bhutto repeatedly asked for security from these two countries. How come that she was not given the security? Were you able to ask that question of the United States and the United Kingdom? Was it that they really didn't believe that the threat was strong enough, or was it blind trust in General Musharraf?
Well, I think that both the UK and the United States were aware of the threats that Benazir Bhutto faced. Mohtama Benazir Bhutto herself was very much aware of the threats that she was facing, and she said so. She even wrote so that this was no secret that she was facing threats, and the U.S. and the UK knew about this. The issue of security was discussed, particularly with the United States authorities, but evidently the U.S. could not provide security that it was up to the Pakistanis to provide. It was the primary obligation of the Pakistani government to provide security to a former prime minister, as they did in a document that they sent on 22nd of October 2007, instructing provincial authorities to take foolproof measures to protect two former prime ministers that were close to the Musharraf government.
Right,
so
Shaukat Aziz and
not of foreign governments. Yes, not of foreign governments, but of the Pakistani authority. However, the issue was discussed, and it is our information that, at least in the case of the United States, they recommended some private companies in the case that Benazir Bhutto decided to go that way.
Like Blackwater?
No, not that I know, but I don't know the particulars of the company. But in the end, the decision was that the security would be provided by the Pakistani government, and with a supplemental support, but what the PPP was able to display.